we could do is a payroll tax cut. That seems to bother the Democrats.
People like McConnell and McCarthy and even Trump who say, let's wait and do nothing. Well, they remind me of the old Herbert Hoovers. We had the Great Depression. We need Franklin Roosevelt-ian type action.
43 governors have partially reopened their states, while others remain cautious as the virus continues to spread.
It can happen anywhere. It's a very elusive enemy.
Including the White House, where Vice President Mike Pence's press secretary Katie Miller tested positive for the virus, as did a personal valet to the president. First daughter Ivanka Trump's personal assistant also tested positive. FDA Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn, CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield, and Dr. Anthony Fauci are all under quarantine after being exposed at the White House. The three doctors, Chris, are expected to testify in front of the Senate on Tuesday. In just a few days, Doctors Hahn and Redfield will testify remotely. Fauci is expected to show up in person, likely wearing a mask. Meanwhile, all White House employees are told to telework when possible.
14.7%. But that does not include the 7 million jobs lost since April 18th, or the millions of workers not looking for jobs, were what are called the underemployed. So, Mr. Secretary, what is the real unemployment rate in the United States as we talk today?
Chris, the real issue, and the president and I understand this, is the economic issues that American workers and American business are facing as a result of this virus and the decision to close the economy. And that's the reason why the president wants to work with the states to safely reopen the economy so we can safely get people back to work. So these are very, very large numbers. These are not large numbers because of the economy wasn't doing well. These are large numbers because we've shut down the economy. And I would just highlight the biggest component of this was in travel and retail and leisure, and not a surprise, we've closed down major parts of the economy.
I'm going to get into that with you.
Perfect, but something can happen between a test where it's good and then something happens and all of a sudden she was tested very recently and tested negative, and then today, I guess, for some reason she tested positive.
Now, Michael Osterholm, the president seemed to indicate that that was somehow a failure. But if you're doing a testing and contact tracing program, it sounds like what the White House is doing is a success story, no?
Well, it is to the extent that they're finding these cases. I think the point that I want to come back to, though, Chuck, this virus is going to keep transmitting whether or not whatever we do. We can nibble it at the edges. In some cases, like New York and other cities did, you can surely shave off the top of that peak. But let's just remember, this virus is on its own. In 1918, when influenza virus occurred, we had these big peaks in the spring in several selected cities in this country, and then it just went away for 4 months and came back with a vengeance. You know, I worry right now more than anything if this virus suddenly starts to disappear, because in fact what that may tell us is we are going to act like an influenza pandemic, and come late summer, early fall, we could have a peak that could make everything else that we've done so far look mild. Contact tracing and testing are important, but they won't stop that. That's what we need to start planning for. What are the different scenarios that are going to get us from 5 to 15% of the U.S. population, as it is currently have been infected, to what it will be 60 or 70%. We don't have a plan for that. That's what we need a plan for.
Are you concerned that we have not ramped up testing and contact tracing in this 8-week period as high as we needed to in order to reopen?
Well, what we've done is very impressive. I mean, according to Johns Hopkins, the United States has tested more than 8 million people. That's twice as many as any country, more per capita than almost all countries, including South Korea. It's enough to do what we need to do today to reopen, but it's not enough, for example, when 35,000 kids and faculty show up on the University of Tennessee campus in August. That's why we need what Dr. Birx called, what Francis Collins is working on, a breakthrough. For example, you might be able to put a lollipop in your mouth with a swab, take a picture of it with your cell phone. If it lights up, you're positive. Or you send that swab to a laboratory that's not too far away, and they use what they call gene sequencing machines, which are already there. They can do tens of thousands of tests very quickly.
What do you do? Let me ask you this philosophically about businesses. You you can open an economy, but you can't force the return of demand. So whether you're an airline or you're a restaurant, we know demand is going to be down. And at the same time, their demand is down through no fault of their own. How do you rescue those businesses, and how do you rescue those employees?
Number one, vaccine.
Check out the unicycle. No wonder the state of Georgia got an F. Ha ha ha! An F on social distancing. Ah, not to mention staying inside. Too nice a day to be cooped up inside a house, apartment, anything.